What is going on, everyone? So in this week's video, we are going to take a look at this guy right here. This is the Garmin InReach Mini. Now, if you've seen my video journals for my winter trip as well as for my fall trip, you might have noticed I had this clipped onto my backpack strap quite a bit. And I know some of you guys are kind of asking about this device and what it is, but basically it is a two-way satellite messenger, which means I can pair this to my iPhone. I can type messages out on the iPhone, and then this will send it to my wife via satellite, and then she gets it on her phone as a text message. She can reply, and then I get the reply, which is pretty cool. So I can be off in the middle of nowhere and still be able to send and receive messages, which is really, really nice. It also serves as a GPS, and you can pre-download satellite imagery onto the phone via an app, and then off in the middle of nowhere, I can actually have access to that and kind of get an aerial view, which is kind of cool. This came in handy on my Death Valley trip, but the main reason I have this device is for when I go on the backpacking trips, to have that two-way satellite communication combined with the satellite imagery, which is kind of cool. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what I've learned by using this on the past few trips, the subscription plans, and everything else along those lines. So this video is all about the Garmin InReach Mini. So before we get started with all the details, I just want to start with a full disclosure. I have zero affiliation whatsoever with Garmin. I bought this on my own. I pay for the subscription plan on my own. So I decided to do this review just because it's a really cool product I actually like to use out in the field. So the unit itself costs about $350, and then there is a subscription plan that you'll need to use it. There's a whole variety of different plans you can go with, ranging from some where you pay less for it, but then at a certain point you start paying per message, to some that are like completely unlimited, but you pay more for the plan. I went with one called the Freedom Expedition plan. That gives me unlimited messages, but the freedom part of it means that you can start and stop it on a month-by-month basis. So I've had this activated for 2 months. First time when I went on my fall trip, and the second time when I went on my winter trip. I pay $64.95 per month on this. You just have to remember when you get back from the trip to go ahead and shut it off so it doesn't automatically renew. There is a startup fee of $25, and that is each year, which is pretty reasonable. And then also I opted for an extra $17.95 per year for something that kind of helps out if in the event that you actually do have to use it for search and rescue, it helps to actually cover the costs on that stuff. On my winter trip, there was also a $2.74 fee on there called a USF Cellular. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it's a very low fee. So it was just a $64.95 plus the $2.74. Over the 2 different times that I used it, I sent a total of 138 messages and I received a total of 132. And if you're kind of to do the math on that based on all the various plans, I definitely would have been paying quite a bit more if I had gone for the basic plan. The middle plan I probably would have been okay with, but I do like having the Freedom Expedition plan just because I have the ability to send all the messages I really want, which is just fine. There's a very easy user interface where you can log onto the website and you can suspend the service and then start it up again. So you don't have to call a number, you don't have to talk to anyone, you can just do it and it works really, really well. So I've been really, really happy with that. I think the price is very reasonable on it, and being able to kind of send and receive the messages is pretty nice. So let's go ahead and talk about battery life. So in the times that I've used this, I find that a full charge I can stretch to about 2 days if I leave the unit on pretty much all the time. If you turn it on and off as you need, it certainly will last much longer than that. But when I go on my upcoming backpacking trip, I'm probably gonna leave it on all the time. And so I figure 2 days per charge is reasonable, and I'll be able to solar charge it. It does charge via a micro USB jack right here on the side, which is the same thing like my headlamp will charge with and everything else. So that is pretty cool. It's a very durable unit. I know they have a lot of water resistance and stuff with it as well. And then I do like the little carabiner setup there, so you can kind of clip it onto a strap so they have easy access there. The user interface on the unit itself is kind of clunky. There's 4 buttons you work on there. But for the most part, you're gonna be using it based on the phone. That's where you will check messages, where you can type out messages. That's where you'll operate from a satellite or from a GPS standpoint. So for the most part, this is just something you clip onto your strap where it has a good view of the sky. but you're gonna operate everything from the phone itself. They have larger units as well it's a little easier to type things out and there's a bigger screen on it. But since you're gonna be operating it from the phone anyways, it really doesn't matter that much. So I went for the little unit here because it's just a little bit smaller. A couple things I've learned on it. Before you go on a trip, you really wanna plug this in via USB and then hook it to the computer and then run any updates that they have in case there's some firmware updates or anything else along those lines. I'd also check your emergency contacts before you go out. Make sure that everything is accurate there. Really, really easy to do. And finally, and this is a really important thing, if you're gonna be relying on any of the satellite imagery that you're gonna be using in the field, you gotta make sure you pre-download that while you are on Wi-Fi because these files are really, really big. That's all gonna be done through the app on the phone itself. But like when I go on my upcoming backpacking trip, I have downloaded satellite imagery for a very extensive area that I'm going to be hiking through. And I want to make sure I have, for the most part, more than what I need. Because once you're out in the field and once you're not on Wi-Fi anymore, I mean, some of these files are, 800 megabytes, so you can't really download them via cellular. So you want to definitely plan ahead, make sure you download everything that you need. I've been really, really happy with the unit. It's been very, very easy to use. It's really just as a matter of just downloading that satellite imagery ahead of time. And I think the price is pretty reasonable on it too. So it gives a lot of peace of mind, which is really, really nice. But I look forward to using this in the field on my next trip. I think it'll be awesome to be able to send and receive messages off in the middle of nowhere and have that extra connection back home, which is really, really nice. But I want to thank everyone for watching and we'll see you around next week.